I'm Jeff Beatty. I'm Riley Beatty's dad.
My name's Riley, and I have type 1 diabetes.
Riley was diagnosed November 3rd, 2009. We got a phone call at midnight. On that night, we'd had his blood test done on the 2nd. The nurse said right over the phone, your son has type 1. And that was how we found out. Riley is the oldest of 3 boys in our family. I remember it was right after Halloween you were diagnosed, and I remember that Halloween you played a hockey game on the Friday, and you started out playing pretty well. You just lost your step after. Do you remember that?
Yes, I remember that.
Do you remember how it felt after?
Yeah, it was really hard to recover, and my coach ended up benching me actually because I wasn't playing how I usually played. And he asked me, "Are you all right?" And I said, "I don't feel all right."
We got the phone call saying that you had type 1. 20 minutes later, we were in the hospital and you had your first shot of insulin. Do you remember the nurse talking to you and describing it as a disease and what you said to her?
I told her it wasn't a disease, it's just something that makes me more unique.
Your mom and I were crying or had tears in our eyes in the hospital. Do you remember what you told your mom?
There's nothing to be sad about. It's not a giant thing. It's just another lifestyle change.
You'd gone on a JDRF website and got a pen pal, and you told me how you thought you could help because he was just diagnosed and he's going through a tough time, and he'd been diagnosed 9 days ago, and you'd been diagnosed 6, and you figured you could help him. And from then on, your desire to help was front and center. Do you remember when you first saw the pump and who it was that introduced you to the pump?
Yeah, it was John Schick. I went to go see him because I thought he'd give me some tips on how to keep my blood sugar in control. And he was talking about pumping, and that really got me going.
John Schick talked about how he was a professional football player and how he lived his life from a young age with type 1, and how he had excelled at his sport and become an elite athlete. And at that point, Riley became fascinated with the pump.
After I went to see him, I asked my dad if I could eat all the pickles out of the pickle jar, and I put some tape on it and I said pump. And that's basically how I got my pump, is through that jar.
Why did you decide to raise money, and tell me a little bit about the Skatathon? How many friends?
I think it was 50 friends I had my first year, and the second year I think I had close to 65, and this is the 3rd annual coming up, and I think right now we have close to 75 skaters. So it just keeps going up and up because the word is spreading around and everybody's just having a great time there.
Well, Riley bought his first pump and gave the JDRF $24,000 the first year, and just over 25 the second year. And this year, April 13th, we are having the 3rd annual Riley Beatty Skatathon, and we hope to pass him over another nice big check. He's a strong kid and taking his disease day by day. We're proud of him for all his efforts and what he does.
I play Pee Wee 1 hockey.
Are you a first-year Pee Wee 1 player or a second-year Pee Wee 1 player?
First year Pee Wee 1 player.
So you're one of the youngest on the team, and you still made the top level. Is that correct?
Yes, that is very much so correct. Our team won the Alberta Winter Games, and I also won this Calgary Leadership Award for my outstanding leadership for JDRF.
Futures of Tomorrow, I believe it is called, isn't it?
You betcha sweet potatoes.
Is there anything else you want to say?
I love you, New York.